All right, so Miss Owen, this is a checklist that I came up for us. Last time when we talked, you talked about wanting to implement a flipped classroom and talked about what that would look like. This is a checklist that I came up with for not only you, but the student as well. And I wanted to kind of look at it and you look at it with me and decide what parts do you like, what parts would you like to change, and what parts do you think would be easily able to implement. So let's look at the students first. Basically, this is almost like a fill in the blank, and then the bottom would be the checklist part of it. So the first thing they would need to know is what standard they're working on. So hopefully with you putting it in on the sheet itself, it should be the very first thing that they see. So if let's say they're working on rounding decimals, they would say the standard I need to work on is rounding decimals, or they could put the standard itself, which would be NBT4. And then they would talk about what that standard is. So again, they could write rounding decimals. And then this is when they would be able to check off to make sure they're meeting the requirements of that flipped classroom. Okay. So they have to watch all the videos. They have to make sure they practice with 80% accuracy. And then at the end, they would need to include some type of a test to see if they've gotten it. Okay. Okay? Yep. On your side, this is just kind of helping you with a checklist to know what to include. So I put the standards, I put video resources. Usually I pull those from YouTube. I know that sometimes it's blocked, so we're just gonna have to see what works with what you have. Some type of extra practice. This can be through Prodigy, it could be through MobiMax, it could be through any of those programs that we've looked at before. It could even be through IXL or something silly like a video game. It doesn't matter really, as long as they're getting that extra practice. Compass, if it's applicable, Compass is a whole nother program, and I don't want to give you too much at one time, but it is something you can look at. And then making sure that that test is attached to the end to see if they have gotten fluidity. Okay? So looking at this, is there anything on the student side or anything on the teacher side you think we need to edit or change?
I think one thing it would be helpful is to add, make sure the vocabulary is there for them.
Okay, so we're wanting to add in some vocabulary. Yeah. So when we're talking about vocabulary, let's just use my rounding decimals as an example. What would be some type of vocabulary words that they would need to know?
They would need to be able to understand for that the actual name of place value. So like the hundredth with the TH versus the hundreds.
Okay, so we want that not only on the student side but on the teacher side as well.
Yes.
Okay, I also noticed that I made an error. It actually on this side they need to have that test attached as well. So they need to make sure that they finish that as well. Is there anything else that you see that we need to edit and or change?
I think we could probably put the compass over here as well, and then if it's something that compass won't be involved, we can always scratch it out or put an extra.
Okay, that sounds great. But otherwise, are you happy with the checklist that we have provided? Okay, so the next step, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna stop the video and we're gonna go over to the computer and I'm gonna show you how to set up a classroom.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay, so when we left off, we talked about how to make a flipped classroom. So this is our Canvas page for those people that don't know. This is our Canvas page, and what I did is I provided you with a template because we talked about before that I use it in my classroom. And what I'm going to do is basically show you how to plug in your information. We're going to stop the video, let you finish plugging in your information, and then we're going to talk about how you're going to use it and when you want to have it to use it. Okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do is go up here and click your edit button. And the first thing you're going to add is your standard. Now I know you have some tabs already pulled up here. This is just to save some time. So first you're going to find the standard. You're going to copy and paste that in. Good. Okay. Then the second step, this would be your vocabulary words. Normally I ask my kids to copy them into their notebook because again, they're doing this without me. But in your case, they're being retaught the standards. So if you want to change that statement, you can, but that is just what I do because normally it's because my kids are moving ahead of me rather than being maybe missed a standard. So that's completely up to you.
Okay.
We can leave that for right now. I know you had copied some standards down, some vocabulary down here. So let's go down here and click that and then copy and paste that in. So give me some examples of the vocabulary that you put in for this particular standard.
Since we were working on rounding with decimals, I wanted to make sure they knew what a decimal was, what the decimal point is, as well as the names of the different place values.
Okay, so that's basically what all this is, correct? Okay, so it's stuff that they should know. It's not something that's new, but just refreshing their brain, correct? Okay, so let's keep scrolling down. Now this is the part where it gets a little complicated, so I'm going to warn you up front. So what you're going to want to do is, I have review of rounding, so that's where you're going to start. So click right here underneath review of rounding. And what you're going to want to do is pull up a video on YouTube. And I know you've already selected one that you like, so let's click that one. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to click down here where it says share. and there should be a way of getting an embed code. So if you click embed, that's where you're going to start. And then the easiest way to do this is to click that copy button right there, and then go back to your Canvas page. And there is a link button up here, right here where it's got the video, where it says insert media, and then click embed, and then click paste, or right click paste, I'm sorry. And then click OK, and the video should pop up, just like that, okay?
Very cool.
So if we want to try it again, so if we hit, go down to the next one, I think the next one it says round to the nearest tenth, so let's just pretend. So go back up here to YouTube, and you don't have to pick the one we pick, let's just show you so you can do it again. So go up here and do rounding decimals to the 10th. Let's see, go down. Okay, so let's just click this one. This one may not be what we want, but we'll try it anyway. So click the pause button so it don't play. And then go back here to share. You're going to click embed again. Click copy. And then go back up here to Canvas. And then you're going to click the little video. Click the embed tab. And click right click and paste. And it should pop that one back in. Now the really cool part is, and we won't get into this today, but you can actually choose how big this video can be. So if you don't like the size of it, you can actually go in and edit the size of the video and make it larger or smaller depending on what you need for your students. But this is just learning process. Let's see if we like it first, okay? Then we're going to scroll down all the way to the bottom, hit enter, and you're going to do a step 3 because we haven't done step 3 yet. And then step 3 is practice. So if you want to write practice, that's what we're doing. Hit enter. And what you're going to want to do is insert any kind of link or any kind of game that you want your kids to do. So I know you had pulled up something that you wanted them to do, so click on that. What I normally do on my page is I write the name of the game, and then I put the link next to it. So I would probably type in Scooter Quest Decimals, and then I would put the link. So just in case it doesn't work or you're missing something, sometimes parents can type in that particular word or that phrase, and it'll pull up the game anyway, okay? So you're going to right click up here where your information is and click copy, and then go back over here. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. I'm going to show you the way that I do it. You don't have to do it this way. If you want, you can highlight the whole word, so highlight Scooter Quest Decimals, and then this button right here is a link button for Canvas, so if you click that, you can paste, so right click and paste your URL, and then click insert link, and they will actually make that a hyperlink.
Nice.
So if we save the page, just so you can see that it works, and go all the way to the bottom, if you click that, the theory is it should still pull up that page. So let's just make sure we did that. Does that make sense? Okay, and then so you've done everything so far, so let's go back up and let's edit. We've got to add one more thing. So go all the way down to the bottom, and then do enter again, and let's do step 4. And then step 4 would be their retest. So what are your plans for their retest? What are you wanting them to do? Are you wanting them to take the original assessment? Is there something on quizzes? What is your plan for their reassessment?
I would do the reassessment on quizzes since they're already online, and it would be more interactive.
Okay, that sounds great. So what I would do is I would pull up quizzes. So let's go up here. It's okay. Quizzes is spelled weird anyway. I's easy. There you go. Do you have one already saved, or do we need to find one?
We could find one.
Okay, that's fine. Absolutely.
Maybe you can log
Okay,
in.
no worries. Let me see if it's going to let me in. That's the question. They've changed everything. So
I thought I had one. I could log in with Google though, because you showed me how to use Google.
I did show you how to use Google. That is an option. Oops. Help if my password wasn't so long. Alright, so I actually have one saved, so I can let you use the one that I have, okay? I can show you how to use this later, but I actually have it done by subject area, so I have one for every standard.
Okay.
So if I go down through here, I should have one that's in the rounding decimals right here. So what you would want to do is you would want to set it up as a homework, so that way it doesn't expire. If you set it up as a live game, basically what happens is it will only work for that time period, so like an hour or the day or something like that. If you set it up for homework, it could last all the way up to 3 weeks. So I'm going to make it all the way to November the 12th. We'll make it till 4 o'clock. just so, or actually, let's make it to 11:59, just because I can. 45. And then you're going to click host game. And the only thing that you need to attach is this part right here to your Canvas. So if you want to right click and click copy, and then you can post that to Canvas, and all you need to do is make your hyperlink quizzes, and they can put in that test. So yep, so I would probably put quizzes before that. We'll create that into a hyperlink in a second, and then put a dash, and then and I would probably put access code, whatever way you want to put it, so they know that that's what they need. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we're going to go back up here to quizzes, and then let's go just to the main website. Hopefully it'll let you get there. Okay, and then take out admin if you can, because they're not going to be admin, it's just be us. Yep, and then copy and paste that.
Oh.
It may make you log out.
To do that?
Yeah.
And go into it?
Yeah, just highlight the whole thing, and right click, and copy, yep. And then go back up here, and then you're going to you're going to highlight the whole word.
Which I spelled wrong.
Good. Highlight the whole word, and then you're going to link it again. In theory, they should be able to just click the hyperlink and put in the code. Okay, so let's insert link. Yep, and then save the page. And let's just make sure that the link works. I always like doing that just to make sure, because I don't want to go through the whole process, have this huge thing where I've made all this work and all this progress and then realize half my stuff doesn't work.
Okay.
So let's click on quizzes and make sure quizzes works. Okay, so it's taking me back to admin, which is fine because we're still playing, but we're going to have to change the hyperlink over to be normal.
Okay.
But other than that, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is I've set up some other things that are going to go under there that we've talked about. I'm going to give you an opportunity with the camera off to add what you want to add.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back together. We're going to see the whole thing completed. We're going to talk about what you added. And then we're going to talk about when do you want to try to do this with your kids and see
Okay.
if this helps with the engagement.
Okay.
Okay? All right,
Yeah.
sounds great. All right, Miss So-and-so, we stopped the video and I kind of let you play for a little bit. So show me what you've come up with.
All right, so we have still have our standard and our vocab we talked about. The original video we did, but then I went in and I was able to add additional videos from different places like Khan Academy and some from YouTube. And then so you had given me on my template to break it down by place value, which I think was really helpful because that ensured the students are moving in the right direction. So it's not one place value here and one here, but they're like building upon what they knew.
Okay.
So added some videos for that. And then
Ooh, I like how you added the adding to the whole number. Why did you include that one if this one's just about rounding decimals?
because if they aren't understanding the decimals, then they actually need to go into the whole number. Plus, as this image shows, sometimes they're asking you to do the whole number when they've provided you with a decimal.
Okay,
So-
all right. And then what did you do next?
Next, I put in that Scooter Quest game that I found online. So I did a hyperlink so it would go right to the game for them.
Okay.
And then I'm hoping to find a couple more games. That's the only one I found that I thought, instantly they would really like it. So
Okay.
I would like to find a few more though. And then I did a game on quizzes. So there's a hyperlink and their game code. And then I went ahead and put a screenshot in for what they are looking for. So that way they know when they click on this, they know that they're supposed to be looking here to insert their code.
Okay, that sounds great. So I know that the original thought behind this, we've talked about several times that I'm a venture teacher, whereas you are special education. And I know you had mentioned that you really want to see what it looks like in action.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts about when you think it would be applicable for you to come in my room and kind of see how my kids work through this process? Now, I know we've talked about that my kids do a lot of this at home, but I have talked to some of my kids and they are willing to kind of show you how they work through it. But what would be a good time for you to be able to come in and see?
Well, unfortunately, with our schedule, there's not really a time during instructional periods to do it. So maybe during specials, if I could select a few students that are still struggling with this standard maybe they could come and
Okay.
work through.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. I think that would be great, and I also think then that way you can kind of see it in a small environment, and really see the one-on-one that the process is meant for, rather than it being a large scale. Because in reality, you're not doing a small group instruction at that point; you're doing whole group instruction. I think that would be great. What about as far as when do you think you want to try to implement this into your classroom, and what's the time period on that, and what success are you looking for?
Okay, I would think definitely by the beginning of next week, if not even the end of this week.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that those students that have struggled, maybe hearing it from somebody else, such as these videos or the interactive games, hopefully that'll help them grasp it a little bit better.
Okay, and just so that we're setting a goal, what's the meets as far as you're concerned with this quizzes? Like, what would be their goal grade?
I would say 80%.
Okay, so 80% would be like a level level 3. Okay,
Yes,
so we're looking for a level 3. We're looking for that B. You know, most people know it as that. We know it as 1 through 4, but we're looking for that B. Then okay. If for some reason a student doesn't do well with this particular process, what is something else that you think of that we could use instead? I know we had talked about Compass. Maybe would that be a resource that you think would be great for them to use?
I think that would be a good next step.
Okay, so that would be even more high intervention, because that actually is set up for tiers. So I can show you how to do that, where they can start in the tier working towards learning this particular standard. Okay? All right, so at this point, we know we have an action plan. We know you're going to try to implement this at some point next week. We also know that you're going to try to get 80% on the grade. That would actually change their actual grade. And the goal is that your students, by the end of next week, the ones that are struggling with the standard, would be able to use this and be able to show engagement and be able to work towards that 8% grade.
Yep.
Okay,
Sounds
sounds
good.
great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.